All right. Here we are, Josh. Welcome to the show. How is the day going for you right now?
Right now, very well. A little cool in Louisville, Kentucky. We were really warm the last couple of days, but a little cool breeze this afternoon. But life is good. Yeah. Quick overview: pediatrician by trade. Went to University of Louisville School of Medicine. Then went to 𝗘𝘀𝘁𝗁 Children's Hospital for my pediatric residency training. And with that, started my own practice right out of residency. Grew it to 9 doctors in 8 years. Then went to be I was chief medical officer at a local hospital, then was invited to be the chief of pediatrics at the medical school for 3 years at U of L. And then I was invited to Norton Healthcare in Louisville, which is the behemoth for healthcare, to be their first physician executive for the Norton Medical Group. At that time, it was about 450 providers I was over. And then 10 years later, I was the chief medical administrative officer for the Norton Medical Group, which we had about 1,600 providers. I left at that time 4 years ago now to start 𝗘𝘀𝘁𝗁, my own consulting entity, and to be more entrepreneurial and start a platform called ParentMD, which is a trusted platform with telehealth and content by pediatricians, guided by parents. And then I'm involved in a lot of other entrepreneurial activities and just wanted freedom and flexibility in my career. You have to be really confident in yourself to take some risk and recognize you may fail. You have to be good with being alone and often lonely at the top. You know, in the corporate world, you've got team, you've always got collaboration, you've got a lot of things that de-risk you. You've got a lot of buffers and safety nets around you, legal and compliance, and everybody's not going to let you fail too bad because then the brand fails. But when you get out on your own, you've got to think about not only your own payroll, but the people on your team. To grow, you've got to invest, and everything goes slower than you think, and it always runs into barriers you didn't expect. So you got to be prepared to really go through some, I think, challenging times. And you got to have a mindset whether you're looking way out where you want to go. You got to lift your head up and get way out there and get past the noise of the day. The other piece is, you know, in the corporate world, you can just follow your calendar every day and go from meeting to meeting to meeting. When you get out, I start my days often at coffee shop, and I have to spend the first hour or two saying what I need to do to clean up yesterday, plan for today, prioritize, strategize, and I'm not going to get everything done I want, but what's mission critical and what gets shunted to tomorrow. So you're always thinking long-term planning, but you're thinking mission critical right now, and you're all constantly repivoting and strategizing. And you're just always in, I've got limited resources and time. How do I make the most of it? But I don't need to ask anybody's permission. I just do it. So you got to feel very empowered to talk, think, and change and strategize very quickly. And constantly look at the landscape around you because it's going fast. And if you don't stay with it, you know, again, you're safe in the corporate world, but you're not safe when you're on your own. Once I got in the corporate world, my wife enjoyed the set paycheck, the growth, the bonuses, but I realized what I was also risking was my ability to grow, my ability to be happy to the fullest, my ability to be creative, innovative, do more. I felt like I was constrained because that world of needing to live in a world that expected high reliability. So when you're talking about risk and mango, my mind went to submarines and aviation and healthcare. So nuclear submarines they're the most highly reliable entity in the world. They can't fail. Aviation takes on the next, one of the top ones. Sadly, healthcare is so low, so even though we shouldn't be able to fail and we should make sure that we're very reliable, healthcare tends to not be as reliable as you think. But in the corporate world, in a nonprofit setting where you got a board of directors, you got multiple layers, you got a matrix organization, they're making it where you're not going to fail because the brand can't fail and the executives above you, self-preservation, can't fail. So there's a lot of reliability. So all of that really de-risked your ability to fail unless you just really, I would suggest, were incompetent, lazy, and didn't have integrity. So, but I realized in another way, I was really risking my whole future potential. I was risking my happiness. I was risking the ability to be productive and to be wired to do what I was wired to do. So you probably, like me, the busier, the more chaotic, the more productive I get more energized and actually can do more. That world really stifled me, to be honest. After about 10 years, I didn't have the creativity, I didn't have the energy, I didn't have the desire. And I knew that I just wanted and longed for that, even though I knew it'd be more insecure, chaotic, stressful. And my wife and a lot of other family and friends, they don't understand it, but only those who are entrepreneurs get it. So I've been in the grind for 4 years, and I've finally gotten it more stable, less chaotic, predictable, solid. It's still hard at times, but I see the light in the tunnel. Things are coming to fruition, and it's been worth it. But coming back to how you get there, you really have to be okay with being lonely. You got to believe in yourself. And if you fail, you don't really fail. You just change the plan and go to a plan. And what I tend to find, it's such an old cliche, but when one door closes, another door opens. Every time on my journey, if something goes wrong, I just lift my head up saying, all right, something better is going to come along. But I actually now believe it. Used to it was hope. Now I believe it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of this, it's a hard journey. And that transition, but at the end, you have to believe in yourself. And you got to have a few people around you too that believe in you. Otherwise, I don't think you can do it. I never move forward without having an expert person or two or operator integrator. I'm a CEO visionary mindset, and it took me a few years to learn that, but I could do integration operation, but I really have to surround myself by those project leaders, those operations folks. So just like, for example, the car wash, we found the right guy and he oversees it daily. The real estate stuff, I didn't do the actual flipping. We invested, found the property. I found someone who I knew was good at that. We got in and supported him, and we agreed to a cut. I've had a lot of different arrangements through the years. But me, it's always about doing homework. It's about finding experts. It's about delegating. It's about getting team. And then it's about the word alignment, finding incentives. Finding an incentive that makes it worthwhile for both parties to go knock this out of the park. So I feel like I'm constantly putting together teams and leading and putting the visions together. And some things get more time than others, and some things don't get the time they should, because I've often taken on too much. So if my wife were part of this podcast, she would just be loving to jump in right now and tell me how I have not used time wisely at certain times. And I've always tried to balance my faith, family, career, patient responsibilities. So, I'm a guy, I start at 6 o'clock in the morning at the coffee shop, and I go to 5 or 6 every day, and, sometimes weekends and nights. So I spend a lot of time, but I'm doing things I love. I'm doing with people I love, and I'd like to think creating wealth for my family and relationships and things that are good and that we enjoy doing. But with this, I always have flexibility and freedom, so my wife and I can do a lot of travel, and I can do a lot of things virtually. The more this journey goes, the more that I leverage technology, team, people, really manage my time, and I try to get myself more out of the weeds and be that leader for teams. So it's really about leveraging resources and learning. I've made a lot of mistakes.
If you stopped today, what percentage of your businesses or investment directions or projects would also stop with you?
If I stopped, the good
Today.
thing more and more is passive. The marine world, after me and my buddy grinded for 5-8 years doing a lot of the work with our team in Louisville, we licensed 4 companies over to an entity in West Kentucky. So that is passive now. Royalties, they do all the work, and we got to them and they've taken it to a whole nother level. It's every young person, but definitely physicians who are going to have some disposable income early and often. You need to get real estate as part of your portfolio. I think if there's a physician who naturally has an itch to be an entrepreneur, to do more, to be in that space, they need to really do a reality check though. How are they wired? What is it that fills their cup? What energizes them? And what areas do they have gifts in? And I say that because a lot of physicians will want to go be a leader. They want to be an executive, but not everybody's wired to be able to do that. Some want to go do real estate. They hear their buddies flipping or making money, but some of them don't have the risk profile to build the stomach and to do that. And some don't, from lifestyle, want to do anything outside of their their time of 8 to 5. I think the physicians today are much more about their protected time, their lifestyle. So if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to be ready to pay some extra dues, take some risk. That's all doable and fine, and likely to be successful if you're wired and energized that way. And I think if you've got some gifts to see it through. The thing I always tell everybody, none of my ventures have ever gone as planned. There's always something that came up that was a buck on the road that I could have easily quit or someone else would have quit. But I've got this stubbornness to figure it out. And I think that's probably one of the things that drives me most. I love taking hard, complex problems and trying to solve them. To me, that probably juices me as much as anything. And that just naturally comes with being an entrepreneur.